Welcome back to Pondering in the Pines, guys. If you watched our last video, we were making lilac simple syrup as a delightful spring treat. But lilacs are not only edible with some medicinal qualities, also going to be a great opportunity for boys. It's time to step up your game and maybe make your leading lady a little bit of a summery perfume, or at very least a very nice body oil. And this recipe would also be applicable to making homemade soap as well. So, focusing on the lilac still. And this one is definitely going to be more of that scented body oil or perfume, but we're going to use a lot of lilac flowers for this one. And let's get started. Alright, so if you like these videos, go ahead and give us a subscribe and a like. We always know that it's fun for us, but we want to know it's fun for you guys too. So let us know what you're thinking in the comments. But to start this recipe off, we're just going to be heating up some coconut oil. We got about 7 ounces of unrefined coconut oil here, and it's starting to melt down already pretty well. Now, I like to use coconut oil because it's real gentle on the skin, but if you're going for just strictly a perfume, you would use exclusively sunflower oil, as it doesn't have much scent at all. It's a light oil that's absorbed rapidly into the skin, or you could use almond oil, but I think sunflower oil makes the best carrier for the delicate floral aroma of the lilacs. And as our oil heats up, we have about an ounce here of almond oil as well in this awesome little measuring glass. Shout out to our friends over at Phoenix Aurelius Alchemy. They do some pretty amazing herbal extracts and tinctures. Give them a check out, and give them a follow, give them a like. They do some amazing work, and we're delighted to have a little bit of their merchandise here for measurements. But our almond oil is going to go in to the mixture of coconut oil, and that's going to help keep our coconut oil from solidifying once it cools down. For this mixture, thyme is definitely a key ingredient, and we don't want that coconut oil to solidify entirely. You also don't want to get this super hot, so we're looking for about 110 degrees for our oil before we would pour it over our petals. So if you have your candy thermometer or other cooking thermometer, you can employ that in here. So we are already at about 110, almost 120. So it doesn't take too long to heat this up. What you don't want is for the oil to smoke. So at this point, we can go ahead and shut that off already. Now for our floral mixture here, we have our 16-ounce jar that's been sterilized and boiled, and we're just going to pack that with our lilac blossoms. Now, if you watched our last video, you know how time-intensive of a process it is to remove these blossoms from their stems. And you don't want stems in this recipe either. We're not concerned about bitter flavors since we're not going to be eating this. But we are concerned a little bit about moisture for this recipe. So there's some water content in the petals themselves, but there's a lot more in the stems involved with the lilac blossoms. And any water that you have runs the potential of making your oil rancid. So you don't want your oils to go rancid. So if you can get rid of those stems, that helps a lot with this recipe. And for this recipe, we're using about 4 cups of lilac blossoms. And again, don't be afraid to pack those down into your jar, because this is going to end up infusing our oil with that light, delicate lilac floral smell. So once we have our jar pretty packed down, you can compress those decently. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and pour our hot oil directly on top of those lilacs. Now you could do this with cold oil too. I like hot oil because it incorporates the lilacs a little bit faster. It also helps emaciate the lilacs to release that scent. So, after we're done pouring our oil in, it should look something like this with kind of oil distributed throughout. And you're going to lose a lot of space as those lilacs kind of crush down from the heat of our oil mixture. So don't be worried about that. That's actually what we want to have happen here, so that all the lilacs are inside and underneath the level of the hot oil. Now, once that's all squished back down, it's a very easy recipe, guys. We're just gonna jar that up, and this is gonna sit for 4 to 6 weeks. So at 4 weeks, or you can go as far as 6 if you want. Really, there's not a timeline, but long enough, minimum of 4 weeks, long enough to let the delicate floral scent infuse into that oil. At that point, we're going to empty this jar out into a bowl with some cheesecloth lining it. And you're going to squeeze the mixture until all the oil comes out, and you're just left over with the oil strained entirely of the flowers, which gives us a nice body oil or a delicate perfume. It smells delightful, guys. It's really quite amazing. And then again, if you do make homemade soaps, that oil base after we're done with our infusion is actually going to be a fantastic base for making homemade lye soaps. So we'll get into that more in some of our other videos. We'll definitely have another big batch of lilacs that we're going to blend with some lavender and turn into soap. But that's a very simple process, very easy to do at home. And if you're wanting some really artisanal soap products without having to pay those artisanal prices, you might check out our later videos on making lye soap. So, again, guys, if you like these videos, subscribe and follow. Give us a like, toss us a comment. Let us know what you'd like to see next. But thanks for joining Pondering in the Pines.